sulfur pungent type of smell within my aquaponic system. Uh, can you suggest a way in which I can minimize this smell? Stay tuned. Hi everybody, welcome again to another episode of Fish Keeping Jamaica. Welcome to my channel. Okay, so the last video I shared with you pungent type of sulfur type of smell coming from my aquaponics system, right? And I shared that my planter bed is kind of unique as to I'm trying academically to develop strategies. And one clear strategy is that I allow the planter bed to actually keep some amount of solids, or what you call waste from the fish. Okay, so I shared it to the last time that sometimes the system is overrun by high volume of solids and I have to do water change. In some persons within some aquaponic sphere will suggest that you don't need to do water change because the whole system, but that is a mathematical type of calculation that has to be done, and if you're not good with maths like myself, I suggest that some amount of water change be done, because you'll have to have the amount of plants that will actually use the amount of waste that comes from the fish space, so as to equate to nullify the return water, making it pure and just spot on good for the fish. You don't want any water to be returning to the space that is have some amount of issues with the pH or the water quality or ammonia spike. You don't want that to happen, right? So you change water. Well, I change water so as to minimize that. Now, one clear way of actually minimizing the smell of sulfur, the smell that actually emanates from your aquaponic setup, is the decrease in feeding. And you might say, but how can I decrease the feeding of my fish if the fish needs the feed to grow? Alright, so here's an idea. You can try feeding your fish more plant-based foods so as to cut down on the volume of ammonia, because ammonia waste is more ammonia, nitrate and nitrite is more the volume of it is more within biodegradable material that is high in protein, right? So dead animal will give you more a greater spike than, let's say, dead plants, right? Both of them really but one have a higher potentiality possibility of giving more than the other. All right, so what you can also do is, if you have the capacity to, you can actually split the stock of tilapia, because some persons might end up, like, for example, I'm having lettuce here, right, and this is scheduled to come to fruition within 40 days or less, right? And after 40 days I might choose to use a pack of seeds and plant, whilst the fish actually stay put. I don't use the fish as yet. Now, if you plan to do that, what you would have to do is to decrease the volume of fish that exists within the space, placing it somewhere else. And you need to remember that not only are you accounting for the volume of waste, but you're also accounting for the high aggression that might exist within the space, because the fish are now becoming larger than how they were initially. This is where they were initially. When they started out, they were like this, right? They were small, right? Now they are like 4, 5, 6 inches, right? So you have to account for that within your system. So probably if you had 2 dozen or 3 dozen and you plan to continue, probably you can pause the system a little bit, probably take out a 1 dozen and place it somewhere else. That kind of taper down the smell, and that kind of, you know, warrant you to actually decrease the volume of feed that you actually feed the fish. As a result of that, you find that it's a little bit more, and the smell is kind of a little bit more annoying when it is within an enclosed area. Now, some persons practice aquaponics within an enclosed area, whether it be a greenhouse or in a room, a special room that is ventilated with warm air, and it can become a little bit nauseous at times if you ignore the first warning that, hey, this is building up, right? So you have to take steps so as to minimize that possibility. Now, as I said before, some persons might have an entire uh, uh, 10 feet or 20 feet planter bed with probably 1,000 or 2,000 gallon of water, you know, going around, you know, monitoring all that. Now, it can be a little bit dangerous if you have too much. The smell is actually, you know, becoming too. It's too high, right? It can cause a health issue. So you have to be careful of that. So when building your green room or your greenhouse, ensure that you have ventilation, all right, to take out the smell. One, and two. Oh, seems like the caterpillar had a little bit of that air. Anyway, and two, ensure that the volume of fish fits the amount of plants that you're using. You can't be using 20 dozen tilapia and a small planter bed like myself, right? The waste is going to be too much for the planter bed, and you're going to end up with issues. The plants are going to grow, but the smell is going to increase, and you might have a problem with overflow. Alright, hope that this little video kind of helped to explain something that I said in the last video, which talks about the smell. Peace out, guys. Catch you next time. Bye bye.